Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy E2 Blue coming back at you again. And sorry I haven't done a video in a couple of days. It was holidays, you know, Thanksgiving. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving break over the weekend, just hanging with family. So it was good. Monday, back on that work grind again. You know how that goes. So Cowboys have yet another Thursday game. Cowboys started practice on Sunday, actually, yesterday. So, you know, getting ready for today. Ezekiel Elliott did not practice yesterday because he had a sore hip. The boy played a lot in the game, you know. And, you know, I love the fact that Ezekiel Elliott is dynamic in the way he is, but we have to spell him sometimes. And I hate watching the game and I hear people say, why is Ezekiel Elliott not in the game? Well, he is human and he does need a break and he can't take every snap, y'all. You know, if you look at a lot of teams, you know, have a lot of rotational, you know, running backs. We know that Ezekiel Elliott is our bell cow. And yes, he's going to get 90% of the snaps, but, you know, get more people in there. Rod Smith got in there, and it looks like he had a stinger in the shoulder or something on that one play that he had. But we do have other players. And, you know, I look at it like this. Zeke is great. He is awesome. He's one of the best, if not the best running back in the league. And I'm glad that we have him on the Dallas Cowboys. But I don't want his career to be cut short. You know what I mean? Like, he says all day, feed me all day, feed me all day. Yeah, that's cool. But sometimes you got to switch it up a little bit. Get some other touches to some other guys and then just rotate it in because, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm a firm believer of if it works, keep it going, because I say it all the time and I preach this all the time. But at the end of the day, you know, you also win games by being creative and doing different things and throwing different wrinkles in there. And we have a lot of players that we don't use much on offense. And I know Rod Smith plays a lot of special teams and stuff, and he's great at that. He made the team because he's a great special team guy. And then our fullback, like I just wish that we use our fullback just a little bit more in the offense, more than just blocking, because he can do some other things too. And like I said, he's an Ezekiel Elliott type. He's nowhere near as good as Ezekiel Elliott. What I'm saying is he's a type like Ezekiel Elliott. He's a strong bowling ball type of back, and he can get downfield on you. He can catch the ball and he can run that ball. And I just you know, I just wish that we used some wrinkles with him like the Raiders did when the Raiders had Olawale. Just a couple of things. Tyron Smith missed practice today because of his elbow or whatever. But, you know, like I said, I know he's going to play. You know, he's a veteran, so they're going to give him as much time as he needs. It's I guess you could say it's not really a short turnaround, but kind of, because you're playing Thursday to Thursday instead of Sunday to Sunday. But it's about the same, but it's just weird because you're starting your week off on a Sunday instead of a Monday or a Tuesday, as opposed to like having your off day. But you know what I mean. It is a home game, so the Cowboys don't have to travel, which is great. But we are playing the Saints, and I'm gonna delve more into that team on my matchup video. I'll probably do that Wednesday night. But as I digress, y'all. Cowboys are reeling. They are on a 3-game winning streak. They are currently the leaders of the division. But we are tied record-wise with the Redskins. But we have to continue to win. The Eagles are still in it. You know, they beat the Giants yesterday. And, you know, it's a 3-way race right now for the division title. Only one team in this division, the way things are going in the NFC conference, and how well these other teams are doing, like, of course, the Saints, Seattle. Those guys are front runners for, you know, the playoffs. So you look at it's going to go through them. I think the Chiefs is the AFC team to go through. And the Saints is the NFC team to go through. And I have a feeling if we get to the playoffs, this won't be the last time we play the Saints. I'm just saying. We might have to play them again if we get to the playoffs, because we might have to go through them to get to the big game. That is, if we can get that far. And like I said, I'm not going to count them in that yet, because there's still a lot of blaring things about this team that needs to be addressed. And I hope that they can do that. But on the back end of that, and we've had this conversation as well, if we do start winning and we do go to the playoffs, that means that this coaching staff is going to remain. Jerry Jones is not going to get rid of Jason Garrett. And he's most likely not going to get rid of Linehan if we start winning. So there's that. And that's the caveat that a lot of fans are like, okay, I'm torn right now because I will never see, me personally, and I've said this before, I will never wish that my team will lose, ever. But that's something to think about because if we start winning, Jason Garrett's not on the hot seat no more. Linehan ain't on the hot seat no more. So, especially if we beat the Saints, y'all, you can bet your bottom dollar that this coaching staff is going to remain intact. Now, some of the things that I look at that changed a lot, and I'm talking about outside of Amari Cooper, and I'll get into that as well. When I look at this Dallas Cowboy team right now, I look at these players, and I look at the fight that they have, the will that they have, the determination to win that they have right now. These guys right now are ready to play. They want to get further. They're not giving up, and they haven't given up on the coach. And that's one thing that I've been meaning to talk about that I keep forgetting to talk about, that I've noticed weeks back. Hell, I've noticed this ever since Jason Garrett, well, not since he's been the coach, but in the last couple of years, even since Dak and Zeke got here. As much as we, as fans, do not want Jason Garrett to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys anymore, these players want to play for him, and they are willing to play for Jason Garrett. Now, I said this before. I don't know if you guys remember me talking about it, but I specifically said that me personally, I don't like Jason Garrett as a coach. I don't. But I do like him for his teaching, his philosophy. That part about him is what he's good at, his speeches. And I know a lot of you guys say he says the same thing over and over again. Jason Garrett is two different guys. When he has a media face, and that's the Princeton graduate, the conservative guy, the guy that says the same thing over and over again in press conferences and meetings and things. That's what we hear. But as you had a little bit of taste from All or Nothing, you see the side of him that curses at the team when they're doing wrong and getting in their face the same thing. But that's the part of Garrett that we don't see. But what we do see is the fact that when he puts his philosophy in place, these players will play for that. These players have not given up on this coaching staff, and they have not given up on Jason Garrett. And unfortunately, you can't do anything but get behind that. And granted, I still stand on my ground as not wanting Jason Garrett to necessarily be the coach of this team. But I'm okay with him being the coach of the team if we get another coordinator, offensive coordinator, because you can't have a conservative coach like him and then have a passive play caller like Scott Linehan. You cannot do that and expect to win big. You can't win big games like that. You might get lucky and get one or two, but you're going to be in that 8-8, 9-7 realm. And we've been in that form of mediocrity for the last 20 plus years. And now 9 of it with Jason Garrett. So we've just been up and down. And you look at the media, you look at the outlets and the way they're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Right now, they're talking good about them because they're like, okay, they're on a 3-game winning streak. They beat the Redskins. They're in front of the division right now. They have no choice but to talk about us because when you talk about division standings, and I'm going to get into that too, pretty much that's where we're at. You look at us being in the league, but our record is still tied with the Redskins, but we're leading the division with wins. The Giants, well, especially since they lost against the Eagles, they're not even a talk right now. So basically, the Redskins, Eagles, and Cowboys are fighting for that #1 spot right now. And the Eagles have a depleted secondary. The Redskins got some injuries. They're up and down right now. So this division is for the Cowboys taking. And like I said before, it is the Dallas Cowboys' destiny. It's the road is paved for the Dallas Cowboys to take this damn division, and it's on them to do it. And it starts this week with the Saints, and I think that's the hardest game you got this year because we got the Colts Then we got the Eagles again. And, you know, you look at the games that we have going forward, they're pretty winnable, y'all. I would say even the Saints can possibly be winnable. But I will talk more into that on my matchup video. I'll talk briefly about it today, but I'm going to get into it more on my matchup video before the game. So, we're playing at home. You know the Cowboys are much better than they are on the road at home. Well, this year, I should say. Our defense is playing really well. But the key to that is making sure that our offense is doing what they need to be doing. Dak Prescott and company have to make minimal mistakes because you got Drew Brees on the other side of that ball. And the more he's on the field, the more he's going to tear you apart. I looked at the Saints play Atlanta. Atlanta doesn't have a better defense than Dallas Cowboys, but they held them to 31 points. They didn't score 50 on them. Now, if the Dallas Cowboys defense can hold up and they're not on the field all day long, I believe that this defense can do their job to get turnovers, get pressure on Drew Brees, and contain some of their wide receivers. Their biggest threat is Michael Thomas. We know who that is. And Alvin Kamara is their running back. I mean, he's like Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, the guy is elusive. He can get out there and he's strong. So, but the Saints are good on both sides of the ball. As far as our offense go, we cannot fumble or turn over the ball at all. Dak can't get sacked so many times. He has to do a better job of watching his blind spots, stepping up into the pocket to either throw or run. And I have a feeling this game that Dak is probably going to do a lot of running because that RPO is huge. And what I don't want is a RPO done in the middle of in the end zone. None of that. Because it's tight down there. You're trying to fool the linebackers. You can't do that because there's no space to maneuver. What happens is you do an RPO and the running back doesn't fake as well, or the quarterback, either way, you're gonna get sacked for a loss. So let's not get too cute in the red zone. Just get the ball in there. We're gonna have to score touchdowns, not keep kicking field goals. It's not on Brett Maher. This is gonna be on Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. I love the connection that he's having with Amari Cooper right now, but I fear that he's trying to throw the ball to him too much. If it works, fine. But what I'm saying is, too much a good thing is not good, if you understand what I'm saying. You have opportunities to get Cole Beasley open. You got to get Allen Hurns in there. You're paying him $6 million. Get Allen Hurns in there. Michael Gallup is your third-round pick. Get him in there. I want to see more from Noah Brown. Noah Brown has a Dez-like body. You get these guys in here, start rotating them around, get these guys on the move. You can beat this Saints defense. Dak has to throw it to different people. Amari Cooper is going to get attention, but you cannot cannot force him the ball. It's the same thing you try to do with Dez Bryant. Don't force him the ball. Yes, Amari Cooper had a great game last time, but the Redskins also have a depleted secondary. You're not going to get that much of a look on the Saints secondary because they're much better than the Redskins secondary. But when I say this, you got to move that ball around. You got to get it to different people. You have to make the defense cover everybody. Because when they have to cover everybody, they don't know who's getting the ball. Hell, in this game, throw Rico Gathers in there. Just throw him in there. It's a big body guy. I think he's 6'8". Throw his big ass in there. Put him on a post. Give him something to do. Give him a post route. And just throw him the damn ball. Throw him the ball. Start him off in the H. Act like he's blocking. Go out in the flat. Get him in some open space. Get him loose. These are simple things that you can do. It's just fundamentals. These are not trick plays. It's not about being creative on that aspect. It's just playing to win. And I'm going to say this every week. You have to play to win. And that's the bottom line. You're not going to win if you're being passive. You're like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh, it's 4th and 2. Hey, should we go for it? I don't know. But we could win the game right here. Let's do it. Let's do it. Get in there and win the damn game. Don't play around. Don't play around, because you start playing around, you're going to lose. And one of the biggest issues I have with this team is time and clock management. You know that when Dak is in 2-minute drill and he's in hurry up offense, it's almost like he's getting that ball moving. He's getting that team going. Allow Dak to be Dak. Allow him to utilize his strengths to win the game. And in order to beat the Saints, you're going to have to body. You're going to have to be strong. That conservative crap has to go out the window. So Scott Linehan's got to call a damn near perfect play. Dak Prescott cannot make mistakes. This offensive line cannot get holding penalties because the refs are going to give you enough of them. So you got to make sure that you're not making mistakes. If the Cowboys want to win this game, they literally have to play almost perfect game. And I know some of you guys, I've heard some people say it's going to be an easy game. It's not going to be an easy game, you guys. It's not. I mean, I've been watching the Saints. They have not lost since week 1. They have not. And I respect the Saints. I got a lot of respect for the Saints. But at the end of the day, this game can be won. And I'm not saying that it can't. It can be. But it's a tale of David versus Goliath. Now, I was actually shocked. Nate Burleson said that he's going with the Cowboys on this. Cowboys are still the underdogs, even though they're playing at home. But there are some people out there that are actually giving the Cowboys a chance. But if they could pull this game off, they could win the rest of these games and go 11-5. That's all I'm saying. And I got full confidence in my team, but I'm also realistic as well. Because things going to have to happen for them to win this game. It's just not going to come out of thin air. It's not just you're just going to wish it to happen. You got to make it happen. And the first thing is play calling. Second thing is Dak has to control the ball. Time of possession. Huge. The less time Drew Brees is on the field, the less chance he has to eat your ass up. That's all I'm saying. He can't score 50 on you if he ain't getting the ball. That's all I'm saying. So, let's look at the playoff picture, okay? Just real quick. Just going forward. What's we got here? Okay, so we already know. We're looking at the NFC right now. So, we know the Cowboys are in front of the division right now, barring if they win this week as well. If the playoffs were to start right now, Seahawks are the 7th seed, Panthers are the 8th, and where we at? Okay, so you look at the NFC division, the division leaders, Saints, Rams, Bears, Cowboys. Saints are 10-1. Rams are 10-1. Because those two teams, it's gonna have to go through them. Saints, Rams, the Bears have come out of nowhere. Like, you look at what they're doing, and I don't even think that their team is even better than the Dallas Cowboys, but they're getting it done and they're winning games. With and without Mitchell Trubisky. So, I'm just saying. And of course, the Cowboys are 6-5, and the Bears are 8-3. The Cowboys are 3-1 in the division, which is the reason why they have that tiebreaker over the Redskins right now. Currently in the wild card is the Vikings and the Redskins. The Vikings are 6-4, 6-4-1. I'm sorry, because they have a tie. And again, when you have ties, that hurts you when you get up into the playoffs because it really counts as a loss almost. Once you get into the playoffs, because if a team doesn't have a tie and you have a tiebreaker, they're automatically going to win that tiebreaker. Redskins are 6-5 with a 2-1 division record. So the Eagles, I believe, have 3 more division games to play. We still got to play the Giants one more time and the Eagles one more time. So if we win those division games, we have an opportunity to stay pat. But I think our division is not going to be decided till the very end because this is how the NFC East is. It's always a battle like that. So in the hunt right now, Seahawks are 6-5, Panthers 6-5, Eagles are 5-6, Packers are 4-6, and then as you start going down, those teams aren't even going to be an issue. So, that's what I want to talk about. The Packers. The Packers are 4-6. So those of you that hate Dak Prescott, Cowboys ain't looking too bad right now. I just feel like we're spoiled as a fan base because we're just so used to, not necessarily winning, but we're used to having things work for us in a way that's manageable. Now, we're not considered losers. Like, when we win, it's consistent, and then we lose, and it's consistent, and then we lose. It's not like we're like the Browns where we get 3 wins in 2 years or something like that. We're not that bad. But you look at the Packers right now. They're probably not even going to make the playoffs right now. And you talking about Aaron Rodgers, an elite quarterback. It goes to show you that football, guys, is a team sport. It is a team sport. And even as dynamic as Aaron Rodgers is, he can't do it by himself. And it just proves that he's human, because he's going to drop a goose egg here and there. He's going to make mistakes. Every quarterback makes mistakes. Dak Prescott ain't nowhere near Aaron Rodgers' ability. He's not elite, and Dak Prescott may never be elite. But one thing that I will say about Dak Prescott is he's a poised young man. He has the will. He doesn't give up, and that helps. And he's always looking to better himself. And long as he works on his mechanics and gets better with that, even next season, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. I saw somebody say in the comments somewhere that, I don't know if it was my channel or somebody else's, but I was looking at it, and they were basically saying that, oh, unfortunately, Dak Prescott can only win with people around him. What? That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. So if you know anything about football, like I said, it's a team sport. Every quarterback can only win when he has other players doing their job as well. Because a quarterback can't catch the ball after he threw it. He can't run the ball. Well, he can, but you know what I'm saying. Pockets got to be open. Lanes got to be open. Offensive line got to block. Everybody has to do their part for a team to be successful. You look at how the Eagles won the Super Bowl last year. How did they win it? They used every player on that team, and they were focused, and they were in tune, and everybody did their job. They had 3 damn running backs out there doing the damn thing. They had Ajayi, they had LeGarrette Blount at the time, and Corey Clement. All 3 of those guys were getting it in, and they were doing it. They were doing it. Their tight end, Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert. Everybody touched the ball. And I think that all 3 of the running backs in that Super Bowl had a touchdown pass. Hell, even Nick Foles scored a touchdown because they did a wildcat and I forget which receiver had the ball, but the receiver threw the ball to Nick Foles in the end zone. And then the Patriots tried to do it back on them, but it didn't work out the same way. But what I'm saying is, when you're trying to win, you gotta pull out all the stops, and you gotta do what you gotta do. And that goes back on play call. So what I'm saying is, regardless of how good or bad Dak will be or is, no quarterback can do that by themselves. And if y'all seen that Green Bay Packer game, you know what I'm talking about. So it is what it is. You look at the Arizona Cardinals. Larry Fitzgerald can't even score that much. I mean, he's had only a few touchdowns this year. He hasn't had his numbers because their offense hasn't been moving right. He had a touchdown his last game, but he hasn't been as dynamic because you're only as good as your quarterback. You look at Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton getting put on IR. Blake Bortles just got benched for Cody Kessler. Ouch. Some of you guys said that y'all thought that Blake Bortles was better than Dak Prescott. When we played the Jaguars, nobody thought we were going to win that game. But we won 40-7. And at that time, their defense was #1 in the league. It seemed like after they played us, the window down, and they just couldn't get back up. They just had a bad bout after that. So I look at it like this: even as dynamic as the Saints is, they can be beat. You just have to find. Every team has a weakness, and you got to find it. Their weaknesses is not glaring, but every team has one, and you have to. It's like a wound that's got a scab on it. You just keep scratching and picking at it, make it weak. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do, y'all. So yeah, got to get it done. That's pretty much all I have right now. I just wanted to put all that out there. You guys know how I do. I rant. Some of you may like it. Some of you may not. But, you know, it is what it is. I do me. But again, I appreciate you guys because, like Mark Holmes says, without you guys, it can't be possible. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. Again, let's get ready for these Saints, y'all. And it's always, how about them Cowboys? It's your boy E2 Blue, always keeping it real. Have a great evening.